Hey, I'm Lance Phillips. Today is National Raisin Bran Cereal Day, possibly the most underrated cereal in the history of the world. What do you like, CK?
I like Raisin Bran as well, Lance. I'm Chris King, and I ate Raisin Bran this morning before I came here.
You did not.
I did. We have
You're
a huge box.
flat-out liar.
Huge box. Come check it out next time you're at the house.
You're going to sit on the toilet all day.
Myself and Macy, Raisin Bran.
Is your seat actually a toilet?
Yeah, it is.
It's just got a hole
Just
in
sit
the
there.
bottom.
Just
a hole in the bottom of the
straight
seat.
up. It's healthy food, man. Healthy
It
food.
is good, right?
Yeah.
But it's too full of sugar.
Yeah, well, they disguise that, right?
Raisin Bran is loaded with sugar. Lance Phillips, Chris King with you. The jersey of Mr. Roy Halladay. This is our first time actually having a chance to discuss the Roy Halladay tragedy, and we've adorned the set with some Roy paraphernalia. We're going to get to, we have him in a topic coming up, but just real quick, what did that guy mean to you as a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays?
I think he was one of the biggest Canadian baseball players that I've seen, right? In our era, he was the best pitcher. Every fifth day, you wanted to watch him. He was amazing to watch.
Could be one of the best pitchers in the history of baseball. I mean, with statistics that we've seen recently that have come out, that a lot of people, I think, kind of glanced over, and now they see what he had done over the course of his career with a garbage team.
Yeah,
really.
terrible team.
A terrible team.
Yeah.
And he was that good. So we're going to get to Roy Halladay in a second. Of course, catch us on Twitter at Gloves TV or Facebook at The Gloves Newcap. Did you take in any football this weekend?
No, I keep telling you, I have to work on the weekends.
I know.
I didn't get to see.
I know.
But I'm excited. 2 Lloyd teams moving on.
Yeah, and a couple of Lloyd kids going to be here in studio with us. Nash Etson and Mackay Brown from Holy Rosary Raiders are joining us later in the show. We're going to chat with them a little bit of Holy Rosary football. Yep. And I think we should actually start with some Holy Rosary football. What say you?
Let's go right at it.
Let's do it. Raiders are through to the North final after a 48-18 win over Wetaskiwin. But early in the second quarter, a Wetaskiwin player was injured on kickoff, and he was down for some time. Initially, he sat up, but then he was put back down again where his neck was braced. You cannot move a kid, Kinger, that has a potential neck injury. That could have been catastrophic, and it begs the question, should these teams, especially ones that have contacts that are involved in contact sports, should they have proper people at the site of the game to look after these kids and not just people who are going out there as trainers?
I think when you look at like football and hockey, those are the two sports that have the most spinal injuries or neck and head injuries, right? I think championships-wise, they make people be there, but I don't know why they don't do it for high school games, college games. It's going to become necessary.
You have to. And if you don't have someone there, there needs, like when I played high school football, there was an ambulance present.
Right.
And I get that, in times that you maybe you can't pay someone to sit there for a whole game, but what do you want? You want a kid to be seriously injured, possibly paralyzed, or do you want someone there that can look after him and you have to pay some extra bucks for it?
Well, and the ramifications for the schools are lawsuits.
For
right?
sure.
If no one's there, you're having a major lawsuit.
It took 15 minutes for the ambulance to arrive.
Yeah.
And when they came out, it was a very casual, we're going to come out. But what upset me as a person watching this game was the fact that he was sat up initially.
Yeah.
And someone said, oh, he's a tough kid, he tried to sit. You can't let him sit up. You can't. And then you put him back down and you're going to brace his neck.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing in those situations, you can't mess around. And that to me was an absolute situation where the person looking after that kid had absolutely no experience with what they were doing and put that kid in a situation that could have been very costly for him.
Well, I think to get to your point there, it actually goes back earlier. That's why you need them there, so they see the hit, they know what happened, and they can have that communication. Because if the ambulance just shows up, if we can't communicate or they can't communicate with the kid, then you might say, oh, I'm hurt a little bit, and he starts to get up, and then all of a sudden, the injury becomes more serious.
That's fine, but you can't let it. The bottom line is if you have a kid that has a potential neck injury, you cannot let him sit up.
Agreed.
You can't do it. And that's exactly what happened, and that could have been a big problem. Yep. Not only that, it was minus 10 or 15 or whatever it was, and he's sitting out there in the grass waiting for an ambulance to show up that just casually strolls in. That can't be allowed to happen. In this day and age of sports and injuries, especially with football, where we've seen a lot of problems with CTE developing later, you can't allow that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You can tell I'm upset.
I know, and rightfully so. There should be a protocol.
Brutal.
The Rustlers women's basketball team had a bye this weekend, but yet somehow fell out of the national rankings from their 11th spot to not ranked. Is there a problem with our national ranking system?
Well, look at that. So essentially, I know you're the coach of this team.
Yeah.
So, I know you kind of have to watch your P's and Q's there. I don't, okay? Right. So that's essentially like Alabama Alabama having a bye, and they drop them right out of the top 10.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. It's bull. You can't drop a team out of the national rankings that are detrimental. It could be detrimental to your team's success on the national stage. You can't drop them out just because they weren't there.
Yeah, if we lost the game, fine, you can drop us out of the national rankings. I just have such a problem with that. There is protocol that's supposed to happen within the CCAA, and without losing to slide 6 spots essentially is really tough. Now, I did the ranking job for the last few years. It's not an easy job, but when you're ranking, you have to rank for the college and the conference, right? So
yeah, I believe here that if you're going to do these rankings, it can't be coaches from other teams doing the rankings. It has to be an unbiased source from the ACAC doing the rankings.
Yeah.
So you're already setting a system up for failure when one coach from one team in the North and South is doing the rankings.
Yeah, you're right. and initially what we always used to get is coaches throwing the rankings being off, and then when we submit it to the CCAA, maybe we don't have our best teams in there. That hurts the rankings for when we go into the national tournament, but it also hurts the smaller schools like a Lakeland. That this is a huge marketing piece, and it's huge for the kids.
Massive.
You know, I don't think people realize how hard the kids work and the sense of pride a ranking is for them, but it's a major deal to any school, and so to lose it without losing a game is kind of unjust.
Kind of unjust.
I'm being polite. Am I being polite? I feel like I'm being polite with this.
Fully unjust is what it is.
I'm actually like shaking mad right now. Like Lance Phillips shaking.
I think you're
mad.
nervous. He's nervous, really. No, it's not right. And the ACAC needs to investigate this and say, hey, we have a problem with this system that we need to fix.
Right.
Because like I said, that is just like dropping Georgia or Alabama out, one of the top 2 teams, well not anymore, but one of the top 2 teams out just because they had a bye week.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I do like that you're comparing us to Alabama. I really appreciate that.
You are essentially.
Yeah, we're basically
you
Alabama.
Guys are the
Alabama of ACAC.
Of the ACAC. That's
minus
sure.
we haven't won yet, but we'll figure it out.
Haven't lost yet. No, you've won.
We haven't won the big
times.
one yet. That's what I'm saying.
You'll get there, Kinger. You'll get there.
We're like a Washington.
You know who has won the big one? The Pee Wee Colts in Lloydminster. Now, this is a big deal, okay? As the last team under the Lloydminster Minor Football umbrella to win a provincial championship, they absolutely crushed Stettler 42-0. It's a huge deal for this team. Now, every team in Lloydminster, including high schools, has won a provincial title. That really says something. What is it that makes Lloydminster minor football so strong? Or football in general so strong in Lloydminster?
Okay, well, first, that's an absolute shellacking.
Oh, no, they crushed them. They crushed them.
I think that speaks to what's happening in Lloyd with football. I think the culture started from the top down, and the grassroots football program is very strong here. And now you see a ton of kids playing. When I drive by to go to Tim Hortons or something like that, there's always football teams playing in the evening. You see the little kids on Saturdays. I think the culture that both the Barons and the Raiders have provided for the youth football has been amazing here. And we have the facilities. For a small town, we have a lot of football facilities.
And a lot of really good football facilities. I mean, those 2 facilities at the high schools are top-notch.
Yeah.
I mean, the fields are fantastic. The lighting setup is excellent. I mean, they're really nice setups.
Yeah.
I haven't been here long enough to really know the grand scope of football in Lloydminster, but one thing I will say that I have learned since I've been here is that Rod Kirby had a huge impact on what's happened right now. Yeah. His impact is still being felt right now, and a lot of the credit I give to him without knowing him or actually getting a chance to speak to him. That being said, who I'm giving a lot of the credit to here are parents.
Oh,
I give parents of kids a ton of credit. That field was full of parents that were out there watching. It was freezing, and it was freezing the week before that when the Pee Wee team won the semifinal. Parents pay for kids to play. They take kids to games. They encourage kids, which makes kids want to play, which makes good coaching want to coach.
Yep.
And to me, it's all comes from parents. And kudos to Lloydminster parents who have stuck with their kids and really helped build this community of football in this town. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's nice to see sports like that blow up. Rugby blew up a few years ago. I think it can happen with any sport here with the passion from the parents and the coaches.
Rugby's
together.
a great example. I mean, the comp has a guy, Steve Witrickish, who we've had on the show. We've talked about him at length, who's a great guy for rugby in this city. Yeah. He's huge. You know, and you know, those are the kinds of guys you can rally around like Lloydminster football did with Rod Kirby.
Yeah. As we mentioned before, the passing of Roy Halladay, very sad moment for all the Canadians, but especially the Toronto Blue Jays. What should Toronto Blue Jays do, Lance, to commemorate his history with the team?
Okay, there's been a lot of chat here. My answer to you right straight away, he's got to go on the level of excellence.
Right.
I mean, at the Rogers Center.
On the field.
Yeah, so for those who aren't familiar with the Rogers Center, there is a row between the 400 and 500 levels of concrete where they have put player names up there, which they call the level of excellence.
Right near my season tickets.
Great, thanks. And absolutely, he's got to be there.
Yeah.
He was one of the best Blue Jays. He may be the best Blue Jay pitcher of all time if he's not one of the best Blue Jays of all time.
I think he probably is, if not the. I think he's the best.
Oh, I think he's the best.
You look
too,
at what he did with it, as we mentioned at the start of the show, a terrible team, right? He gave them a chance to win every fifth day. His numbers got to retire.
He nearly did win every fifth day.
Yeah, and he would throw 8 innings, 9 innings, give up 1 or 2 runs, and the Jays would lose 2-0.
He played for a terrible team, and he was essentially a nobody when he played for that terrible team as it pertains to people in the U.S. They
Right.
knew who he was, but it's not like he was playing for Philadelphia at that time.
Yeah.
Had he been playing for Philly then, now he's a way bigger deal than he is playing in Toronto.
And Toronto wasn't a major market yet, right? It was still a blossoming market, as you mentioned. I just think that he really helped put Toronto on the map. If you look at like the World Series win, and then you look at after that, he's kind of the guy. Like he's the stopgap between the two. And now that the Jays have been good the last few years.
Yeah, I'm not a proponent of building statues for guys just to build statues for guys. But I will say this. There is a statue that resides out front of the Rogers Center. It's not Tom Cheek, who called over 3,200 baseball games in a row. In a row.
Which is
Do you know how many
amazing.
years that is?
That is amazing. That's 160 games a
It's
year.
160 games a year. It's nearly 20 years. It's just over 20 years
That is unbelievable.
of straight games. And Roy Halladay was the player he was, but those two statues don't exist out there. It's a statue of Ted Rogers, the guy who owned Rogers Media and Rogers.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, so if you're going to put a statue of Ted Rogers out there, I'm pretty sure that Roy Halladay deserves a statue out there as well.
I would be okay with that. I'd be 100%
But
okay.
at minimum, level of excellence, he's got to
Put him up there.
You want to go ahead?
No.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
How about I go ahead?
You go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
You just made me panic.
Wow. Oh, I just roasted you and I look like a fool. U Sports. Let's talk U Sports. And it's no shock here that the Calgary Dinos won the Canada West Championship. I mean, they're defending champions and they beat UBC. But it's how they did it that was incredible. A 59-yard field goal with no time on the clock kicked by Nico DeFonte to win 44-43. Is this the best kick or the most impressive kick you've ever seen in the history of CIS or U Sports?
It's the best one I've ever seen. When I saw it on Twitter, when I scrolled across that, I saw a 59-yard field goal, and I thought I was watching an American football game.
Right.
And I watched it, I'm like, oh my goodness. That kick was amazing. I didn't even realize the time was ticking down. Like, I can't think of anything I've seen bigger in Canada West or in CIS football.
I've seen, not one as impressive, but I've seen ones that are as exciting.
Right.
So, remember the 2015 Vanier Cup where UBC kicked a last-second field goal to beat Montreal.
Right.
And the ironic thing about that is that Montreal blocked a last-second field goal against Laval, I believe it was, to get into that game. And in 2014, they blocked a last-minute field goal against McMaster to win the Vanier Cup. And this time, they were on the other end of it. That kick, although it was only 20 yards out, was thrilling because of the way the game finished. I can't imagine what that kid was thinking lining up at 59 yards out. Like, what's going through your mind? Like, okay, I'm just going to go for this. Like, I'm just going to boot it, and I can't see this happening, but I'm going to go for it.
I think kickers have a special mentality. But,
Oh, you have to.
But at that point, that's got to be his max. Like, that just cleared the bar.
It's a U Sports record.
Yeah,
it was his personal best.
Right, and you're out there like, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to kick this as hard as I can, right? And then as you see it going, I couldn't imagine. It felt like that hung in the air for 10 seconds. Could you imagine jumping, waiting?
Honestly, I thought they were playing on the moon. Like, there was no gravity. Like, it kept going. And when it came through the bar, the reaction of the UBC player behind who caught it was priceless. Like, he was so mad. And I mean, rightfully so, right? It's a trip to the Vanier Cup on the line.
Yeah.
So not the Vanier Cup,
ticket.
the conference, the Western Conference. But it's I mean, it's the most impressive kick I have ever seen at the Canadian university level. Just an impressive showing.
Yeah, very, very entertaining stuff to watch.
Sorry, Kinger, now it's your turn.
I'm up, I think.
Yeah.
With the CIFL playoffs underway, the division finals are set. We have our 4 finalists. Lance, who's your favorite?
I'm not in the final.
I can bet who your favorite is to get to the finals, the Grey Cup.
Listen, we've established I don't fandom too often. I don't typically make it known who I'm fan of teams are. There's 2. Toronto Argonauts and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Those are the 2 that I'm happy to make it known that I am fans of these teams. That being said, I believe, and I'm not the only one, that the Toronto Argonauts are the new favorite to win the Grey Cup. And I know that people will be like, that is insane. You know, they still have to beat Saskatchewan, a team that they had trouble with. No, sorry, I said win, Saskatchewan. That team that they had trouble with, you were still going there, late in the season. But the previous favorite, the Calgary Stampeders, lost their last 3 games of the season, while the Toronto Argonauts won their last 2 games of the season. I believe Toronto is in a good spot. They're playing at home. I know BMO's had a problem with attendance. They're not going to have that problem this coming week. There's no way. That place is going to be full. I'll bet my bottom dollar on it, which isn't much. And Calgary isn't a lock to get past Edmonton.
Yep.
And I believe the Argos are in the best position to win the Grey Cup.
I kind of like the way that, you know, with the bye week off in terms of football, you get healthy, you get an extra week to prep. It's huge for the coaching staff. It's huge for the players' confidence. But there's something to be said about the Rough Riders and the Eskimos playing last week and having a little bit of a rhythm heading in, because it's almost like you don't have time to think about it. You play, okay, we're in our regular schedule, prep, go play again, right? Whereas like the Argos are kind of sitting there thinking, okay, what are we going to do? They're watching the tape. They're probably readjusting their game plan. The Riders, I think, if they have a chance against the Argos, it's got to be probably special teams for them. I think their wide receivers are going to be huge, but the Argos late in the season really turned it on. They're one of the hottest teams in all of football.
Listen, there's one area that the Argos stand to really dominate this game in, and it's on the defensive line. Victor Butler on the defensive line, Sean Lemon on the defensive line. These are the 2 guys that can make the biggest impact, and I believe they will. They've had the week of rest. Lemon hasn't been the healthiest guy. These guys are going to dominate, and they're going to cause a lot of problems back there for Glenn.
We'll see this weekend.
We'll see this weekend. We'll also see Albert, full of tweets. Coming up later in the show as well, Nash Edson and Mackay Brown from the Holy Rosary Raiders are going to be discussing Raiders football, which is always a lot of fun.
Great time.
And ball, you got to get out to, Frank.
I want to.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
Albert's in the house. I know we left off, but you got to get out to these football games, man. I mean, I keep harping about it, but it's a sight to behold.
You know what that needs to happen? I need to get kicked out in the first quarter.
Yes.
So then I can go watch.
Why don't I go and crouch down behind you at a game and just start cursing profanities? I need to curse a lot of them though, because you emit a lot of profanity over the course of the game and don't get kicked out.
Not true.
Hey, there's mail.
Very silent.
Brian Shanaki. When you realize 6-3 Jaguars still play the Browns, Cardinals, Colts, Texans, and 49ers. And that's 100% true. I mean, when you think about this team going into the preseason, when they started, that was not a team that you saw being as good as they are.
And they're going to have an unbelievable record by the end of the like that's
they're probably going to make the playoffs.
Which I also did not
mind you,
see.
the 49ers got their first win, I believe, on the weekend. Oh, geez, they're god-awful.
Matthew Scantini at
That's Shinetti.
Is it Shinetti?
That's Shinetti.
Oh, should have done a little more prep here.
Oh,
at TSN Shinetti. Oh, boy. Toronto traffic and noise alert. Avoid College West and St. Clair West Street. Plenty of crying and swearing. A lot of swearing. And the tweet is retweeting, it's over. Sweden's going to the World Cup. Italy and Sweden.
That is nuts.
One of the bigger upsets.
One of the biggest. Ever. One of the biggest upsets. All right, this is NFL at NFL. Marquise Goodwin played Sunday and caught an 83-yard touchdown pass, I might add, hours after the passing of his son.
That was a touchdown.
So he had a newborn, not even a newborn, essentially, pardon me?
He was an infant, right?
I believe he was. He was newborn, who passed away, and he caught an 83-yard touchdown pass. And I can't imagine what that would have been like.
Sports are funny like that.
Sports are funny like that, you know. You wouldn't think that that sort of thing would have an impact, but it does.
Yeah. When I watched that tweet, I was, you're moved.
Yeah.
Pete Blackburn, at Pete Blackburn, there's always one person that ruins casual Friday for everyone
else. See this
guy?
Yes. This is a fully naked man streaking, no socks. He had nothing on.
I saw a couple like random videos of this where like you could see parts. One, great form. Yeah. And he went end to end.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Watching a streaker is a fun time.
Well, I got to believe that nobody wants to tackle. Like, who wants to tackle that guy and run the risk of, grabbing the guy's junk like that?
You're almost better to just let him go.
Oh, that is atrocious. Yeah, I would just let him. I just let him run till he's tired out. And okay,
let's got mail.
Good on you.
Ah, that's gross.
Jail's waiting.
No rubber gloves either. ESPN at ESPN, a touchdown celebration from the CFL. It's good that ESPN actually recognized this. Deontay Spencer, of course, got the TD, and he's not the one who celebrated so much. Like, that's impressive.
It's
good
well
form,
played.
really, is what it is.
Yeah, that is really good form. I'm getting into these touchdown sellies. I'm liking them.
I feel like you're going to like this one.
At ESPN, this quarterback scramble is just ridiculous.
It is insane. Like, I've never seen a guy. How does he do this? Like, did you hear the audio behind this for the call?
I didn't hear the call.
I mean, they're considering him dead in the water, right? And then
goodness.
he breaks free and gets out.
I like that he dives in at the end.
Like, that's insane.
That's straight to the oxygen machine right there.
Ben Garreau at Apollinaris. How ridiculous is it that I can watch NCAA football, but I can't watch hashtag Yates Cup or hashtag Canadian Bowl or hashtag Hardy Cup or hashtag Dunsmore Cup on Canadian, quote, Canadian TV? It is ridiculous. I mean, I understand it from a network perspective, though.
Right.
I mean, they're not making any money. They're losing money broadcasting these games, right? But the fact still remains that
it's Canadian content. And
it is.
I might talk about this later, but it is the highest level of sports in Canada. Bar none.
enough.
The AHL at AHL. Wait a minute, that's not hockey.
Okay, so
well,
like,
we'll let it slide.
Are
just
these
for
actual baseballs? Like, watch this one. Not that one. Sorry. There's one coming up where he just look at.
That's a laser.
Like, how do you catch
That's a
that?
laser.
You're worried about pucks coming over the gloves.
You have to be wearing a glove for that.
Like, you're worried about pucks coming over the gloves.
Poppy doesn't swing soft ever.
Those can't be baseballs,
Those
obviously. Could you
Those
imagine?
were flying. Those had to be.
They weren't wiffle balls. What are they? Nerf balls?
We might need to invest that.
We're going to be all over that. Okay, so this is Rob Perez at Worldwide Wob. I love this guy's handle. Amazing. The most perfect Lance moment of the year. Lance calls for ball. Corey Joseph passes to him. Corey calls the ball in the exact situation, and Lance tells him to chill. Like, what a goon.
Lance is a unique.
Look at chill out.
He's a unique player.
Lance.
I don't think he's what you would call a great teammate.
No. He's your Matt Duchene of the NBA.
Yeah. Funny videos at Funny Teens
Oh,
vid.
dude, this is unbelievable.
Skill.
This is unbelievable. Like, I watched this and I'm thinking, what's going to happen here? Okay, so he throws his towel. Like, what's he going to? Okay, so
Energy drink, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any skill. Wait, now I'm seeing skill.
That's not real.
No, it's look at, and the best is at the end.
That's a magic trick.
This is a magic trick. Thug life. Okay.
That was the best thing I've. Is that
I don't
real?
know if that's real. I mean, the camera doesn't move. It's all filmed in one take.
That is unbelievable.
There's mail.
I'm gonna watch that a few dozen times.
Andrew Gross at A Gross Record. During first intermission interview, Brian Boyle admits he cried after scoring first goal since return from chronic myeloid leukemia. I've never cried after a goal before, Boyle told MSG. That's a great feeling. It's everything.
Mail in the beak.
Sports.
Unbelievable.
Touching. It's so awesome to see a guy like that back on the ice,
it's
or in any sport for that matter. Dan Schulman at ESPN. I would love to see the MLB create an award for the pitcher who throws the most innings each season. I bet the recipients would be honored to win an award named Roy Halladay.
Okay, so there's a great example, right? There's a great example.
mail.
We have time for one more here. Dirk Hayhurst. This is awesome. Beyond gifted, but never spoke of it. Inspired with action, not words. Never compromised, backed down, or judged. Always respectful, ever kind, genuinely humble, quiet, honest, sincere, caring, a timeless example. I knew greatness. I knew Roy Halladay. That's impressive.
You never hear a bad word about him.
No.
We're back, and the gloves are still off.
As I mentioned earlier, joining us later in the show, Nash Etson, Mackay Brown from the Holy Rosary Raiders football team after a big win against Wetaskiwin 48-18 into the final this week against St. Albert.
With a shot to
Which
go to
I
the
thought
ship.
was down near Grand Prairie.
Yeah. You were mistaken.
Yeah, I was.
Close though. It's close. Like a couple
it's
hundred
not
clicks.
close. Yeah, so St. Albert,
Suburb of Edmonton, basically.
yeah, and they only put up 25 points against Peace Wapiti, pardon me. I keep saying Wapiti. Keep doing that. It's Wapiti.
It's Wapiti.
Thanks, buddy.
But you might be losing a bet, is what we're
Let's
finding
do some
out.
shock, no shock. They only have to get a point. They can allow 1 point. Rouge. You love Rouges. Shock, no shock. I'll start this off, okay?
Sure.
Italy did not qualify for the World Cup after a 0-0 draw with Sweden. Are you shocked or are you not shocked?
I'm shocked. Italy's traditionally a soccer powerhouse.
Traditionally.
This
I mean, I
has to
believe
be-
they've won 4 times.
This has to be the biggest loss.
They've
in the
either
country.
won 4 times or they've been in the World Cup final 4 times. But they haven't been in the World Cup. They've been in the World Cup every time since 1958.
Yeah, I didn't obviously see the game, and I don't follow the international soccer scene. But when I saw that come up, I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, it was mind-boggling. I mean, Arash Madani put a tweet out that there were 2 guys, one was Italian and one was somebody else, who the one guy questioned the Italian reporter about how he felt about Italy not making the World Cup, and he told him to F off.
Yeah.
He actually said it to him, like on live television, which is incredible.
Which that's the culture, right? Soccer is a
it's
culture
nuts.
over there. That's what
It's
they
big.
It's almost like a church, right? Jesse Pugliarvi was called up for the Oilers in his first game. He scored. Are we shocked or not?
Yeah, I'm shocked. First of all, I was actually shocked that he got called up.
Right.
I really was. I did not see him being called up this early into the season. I didn't think it would happen. If it happened at all this year,
Right.
I didn't think we'd see him until, way later in the year than this.
And see, I had that on my predictions last week, and I didn't get to it, that he would score 3 goals.
We
in
talked
his
about
first
that.
3, yeah.
But he didn't score 3.
But he did not. He scored a goal, and he looked not bad in
No.
his first
So
game.
he may stick.
Yeah,
He
you
may
never
stick.
know.
I feel like I know what the general consensus on this one is, but I still am going to put it out there because there are some naysayers. Paul Correa inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yes. I am not shocked.
You're not shocked
Yes,
by
he
that?
deserves to be there. I think he was one of my generation, the best players that we saw. Very gifted. I thought he was ahead of his time in terms of playmaking. What's your thoughts on that? I think he was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I feel like Paul could, sadly, the thing that Paul Correa is best known for is the hit he took against Scott Stevens.
Yeah, the cheap hit.
I still don't think it was a cheap hit. Paul Correa came across the blue line with his head down and Stevens lined him up.
And he woke up a month later.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
he came back in that game.
Yeah.
But he
I
was not
highly
in good shape.
Yeah, that
he was not in
documentary
good
he
shape.
does not remember.
But I'm not shocked by this as well. I feel like a lot of people would share that, but I have seen people out there who are thinking that he should not be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But, I mean, he should be. He deserves to be there. I mean, there's no question that Teemu Selanne needed to be there. Paul Correa, I believe he was one of those guys.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems. Going back to the NBA, shocked or not shocked, the Boston Celtics are off to a 12-2 start to the season, in spite of losing Gordon Hayward, possibly their best player.
I'm a little shocked by this. I'm not going to lie. This is not a team, first of all, I even saw being in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
I didn't think they'd be among the top 3. And that might be a bit of a stretch, actually. Right. But I still had initially said that. They may win the Eastern Conference.
I think
it is shocking.
You could also parlay that into Kyrie Irving has been otherworldly since being in Boston.
Sure. And maybe that's what he needed. Maybe he knew that if he got this opportunity, that this is what he could do for Boston.
And he's just playing ball, moving the ball, sharing it, very similar to Durant in leaving OKC.
All right. Per ESPN report, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is seeking $50 million a year, lifetime use of a private jet, and lifetime health care for his family. You shocked or not shocked by this?
I'm not shocked because it's the NFL. What I am shocked is how a private jet for your lifetime gets in your contract.
You just put it in and say, I want this. It doesn't mean he's going to get it, but he's asking for it. I'm not shocked by this at all, considering this guy makes $30 million a year right now. He makes more than some NFL owners do.
Yeah. And he's basically protecting the owners, protecting the brand. He does all the dirty work.
I mean, that's what a commissioner does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Gary Bettman does in the NHL world. That's what he does in the NFL world. So I'm not shocked by that at all, actually. It's totally logical from Roger Goodell's world.
It's something else. I got one more quick.
Okay, bang it out.
All right. Shocked or not shocked, the Braves chose Alex Anthopoulos as their new GM.
The only thing that shocks me is they took as long as they did to get the guy. He's going to be outstanding, and he's going to make those guys a World Series contender within the next 5 years. I believe that.
The cupboards are stocked, to say.
No, for sure.
So he's
They
got all the tools.
absolutely are. Yeah.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
Football fans in Lloydminster will certainly recognize these 2 young men, Nash Edson, Mackay Brown from Holy Rosary Raiders football. Gentlemen, good to have you here.
Good to be here.
We're glad to have you, especially after such a big win on the weekend. 48-18 final score. A thrashing to say the least. How did you feel like play went on the Raiders side?
I think the first half, like, very first plays of the game, and we came up flying. That's for sure.
Yeah. We were playing physical Raider football. That's all we needed to do.
Yeah.
Physical Raider football. So playing on the
Did you
defense.
ever play physical Raider football?
I didn't. All I've got to do is watch physical Raider football. And it seems like this has been happening for like the past 8 years. They're dominating on both sides of the ball. Talk about defensively what you guys were looking in, heading into the game, what your game plan was.
We mainly focused on stopping their run game. Our DBs could lock down the receivers easily, so we just needed to find a way to stop their run because that was their game plan.
Well, their quarterback couldn't throw a ball.
Yeah,
so that's a big part of the game. When you can't throw the ball, your only other option is to run it, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, and your defense is stout. We've talked about that all year, how stout it is. Do you think this is interesting, you both play offense, but your defense, your offense, do you think one is better than the other? Do you think they're both equally good?
They both complement each other. Once our offense gets going, that pumps up our defense enough to make the other team go 2 and out, and then once we do that, then our offense comes back flying.
What do you say, offense or defense? Don't be biased here.
I think we're both about the same.
Okay.
But offense plays bad, defense will play great, and then defense can play bad and we'll play great, or we'll just play the same. Either way, we go out there and we get it done.
So you guys kind of pick each other up,
Oh,
kind of play off each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I have a question. This win this weekend, obviously a huge win for you guys. What felt better, this or winning the Wheatland Football League?
Oh.
You got to pick one. Which win meant more?
The league.
Yeah,
league?
for sure the league would.
Yeah,
That's what I would have thought.
I'm just asking. You guys are
Do you
the
think
ones
the league
playing.
too, Mackay?
I'd have to
Really?
say this one.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just another step to my goal, basically, just provincial finals.
What was it for you, Nash, about the league? I feel like we
Yeah, I know.
probably know what it was, but
Yeah,
what was it
I don't
for
know. It is nice going out there, playing on Armstrong Field against my former team, and just playing against them in the league final.
That's the reason I was looking for.
And getting one last chirp out there, obviously.
Oh yeah.
They beat you the first game of the year.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like after that first game, knowing that you were probably going to face them again at the end of the season?
When we lost, that was a little bit lost after the game. Didn't really know what happened. We just weren't really prepared for it, and that kind of fed the team to come back in the league championship and just really give it to them this time.
And with you guys bouncing back in the league championship, you said your goal is to win the Alberta Bowl. What do you guys need to do to get there? Obviously, you have a couple games left to get there.
Yep.
What's the coaching staff talking to you guys about as players?
Just executing in our positions, being the best that we can in our positions, putting in 100% effort in the weight room and practice and on the field. Just trying to be the best at our craft that we can be.
You're just going out there every day and just competing with each other and trying to make each other better while you're also getting better.
Right.
It's fun.
Coach Fulcher said to me at the beginning of the season, actually I think before you guys had even played a game, he said that we're going to be a tough team in October to play against. It's November now, it's not October, but do you think you're at that point where you are a tough team to play against right now?
Oh yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What is it that makes your team so tough? I mean, I know we talked about offense and defense, but what is it that makes the Raiders such a tough team to play against?
We're mentally tough. I think we go out there and we play, and if we make a mistake, we have short-term memory. Like we forget about it, we go on to the next play and get it done, and then we just continue to do what we do.
Would you agree with that, Mackay?
Yes, 100%. We try and pick each other up, try not to yell at each other, and just try to stay positive on the field, just to keep everyone going.
Next play is a Coach K model, by the way. That's in his book. So on the mental side of things, it's cold right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys?
Well, you just came in. How cold is it?
It's freezing. Look at you. I almost got pneumonia outside.
Because you're not wearing a jacket.
So when you guys prep for these games, obviously it's going to be -5, 10, 15. Mentally, how do you guys get ready for that? And what are you guys doing in practice? Do you guys simulate that? Do you practice outside? Are you guys practicing inside right now to prevent injuries? What have you guys done lately, Nash?
It alternates. Last week we practiced inside, and then the week before that we practiced outside the whole week. I don't know. The coaches just kind of decide and pick what we want to do.
So just to get you ready, they'll kind of switch it up back and forth for you guys.
Yeah.
Do you prefer inside or outside, Mackay?
Well, I mean, that depends. If we're practicing outside. I like it because it just lets me know how it's like what the element's gonna be outside, and it just gets me used to it, so I can perform.
You've been to, sorry I cut you off there, you've been to an Alberta championship before, an Alberta Bowl before with Raiders.
Yes, twice.
But you have not.
No.
Okay, so this is your first chance to go.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked, or have you talked to other players about what the experience is like going to that game? And if you have, what have you learned from it?
No,
You haven't?
I haven't talked to them. No,
Really?
just like after their game, just asked them how the score was. I didn't really ask them like what they were thinking, if they were nervous and stuff
But
like
this
that.
year, have you talked to any of the guys about it?
No, I haven't really thought of it. I haven't thought about the provincial final. Just thought about what's going to be the next day and next game we're going to play and stuff like that.
What is the experience like, Mackay, going to one of those Alberta Bowl games?
I think it's a life changer. You go there and you just get butterflies in your stomach, and it's crazy. You know, you're playing in the provincial finals against another team with your family. It's nothing better, I think.
You have yet to win, though, correct?
No, I have yet.
You weren't on that winning team.
No.
Okay. Yeah, touch wood.
Knock on wood, that's about to change, right?
Well, the good news is that Cardston and Cochrane are
Yeah.
going to beat the crap out of each other next week.
Yep.
And then you guys will get the remnants from one of those two teams.
Oh yeah.
How do you've played Cochrane before?
Yeah.
How do you feel like your team is? What kind of shape do you think you're in to face a team like that again?
I think right now we're in good shape. We've been executing our plays. We've been just improving on our bodies in the weight room and whatnot. I think we're all healthy enough to,
Yeah.
go all the way down to provincial finals and win.
Will you guys see tape? Like when you guys have been in the Alberta Bowl before, do you get a lot of tape in the Alberta Bowl final or not? Are you going in naked on that prep, or how's that work?
I'm not sure how we're doing it this time, but last time we had a little bit of film just to study on and just get to know our opponent.
One thing that you said to me during the Red Dog season that has always stuck with me during one of our interviews after your championship game, and you'd already won the championship at that point. You said to me, "I get emotional about the game, you know." That's what you said to me.
Yeah.
How did you feel after the Wheatland win in those regards?
I was almost in tears. I won't lie. It was a great feeling, and I do get emotional because I love the sport. I love playing it. I love playing with my family, and there's no other way I'd be spending my Friday night than on the field.
And as a newcomer to this team this year, how do you feel when Mackay talks about family? Because I think that's really interesting.
Well, I was friends with them like before.
Sure.
Played Red Dogs with them my
Sure.
first year, and when I came in, they just kind of brought me in. They were like, "Okay, you're gonna play football with us," and so I just came in, and I'm even better friends with everyone now than I was before. And we are all a big family.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and in terms of this journey, you guys have a couple games left. What do you guys need to do next weekend to continue to play as a family, getting to your ultimate goal?
We just got to do what we do every week, what we've done all year, and just go out there and, I don't know, play Raider football.
Everyone has to come to practice. Everyone go to workout, film, be responsible, so we can be healthy for our games. And be
I
ready.
hear a lot of people say to me, the strength of not even like Red Dogs football, but of especially Holy Rosary football has been coaching. Coaches are very quick to say it's the players. As players, what do you guys think is the strength of Holy Rosary Raiders football?
I think it's the coaches. I mean, they picked our positions for us, and it seems to be working. Suits us very well, I think.
Yeah, like we're all good players, I'll
Sure.
say that, but the coaches are great.
They come up with the game, the plays, strategy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dante Tabacu, this is first year under center.
Yeah.
How do you guys think he's come along this year? Because I feel like he's come a long way
Oh yeah,
with your
he
team.
is.
Oh yeah.
He's come a long way. He's improved on his arm. He's bombing passes to me, and I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's improved a ton. From our very first practice this year in summer when he was throwing the ball to now, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Makai, with 2 games left in your career, what does it mean to win that
Well,
Alberta Bowl?
just the second.
Possibly.
His career's not over.
No, high
after-
school career it is.
Oh, high school career.
Sorry,
okay.
I should have
You made it
said
sound like
high
his
school
football
career.
is over.
At this point, it's like, okay, that's the end of football, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the way that I looked at it when
Listen
I
to
played
him.
high
Don't
school.
listen to that guy.
High school career. What do you think about with those couple games left?
I think it's a must-win, especially for me. I'm not gonna stop till I hear that last final whistle. I'm going in there with revenge this time, but I'm going in there. I'm going in there to win.
I like it.
That's awesome.
Yourself? Well, you still have another year to go.
yeah.
So, this is,
Yeah.
so these are your last couple of games of
With
your,
this team.
of your
with this
second
group,
last year. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's scary going into it because it's like, well, next year that's it. After that, it could be it.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't know. I'm gonna be sad the season's done.
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
be sad the season's done. Yeah.
What are you going to do after football? What's your plan after high school for football? Are you continuing to play? What are you thinking you're going to do?
I'm hoping I can continue to play after the season's done, but if not, probably just go to school and just be like a lab tech or something.
You have any school ideas right now?
School ideas?
Like as far as where you'd like to go? Have you been looking at any places?
I haven't started looking at, but I know for a fact I definitely want to go to the next level and just
Attaboy.
play,
Good stuff.
do my thing.
That's great. Mr. King, how far did you go in football?
We had flag football league, and just so you want, in Kitscotty we won flag football 3 times in a row. Pretty
It's a
impressive.
two-team league. It's a two-team league.
There was 8. 18. That's crazy. No, we didn't have it, and actually football was just starting to blow up in Vermilion and in Lloyd, so we started having some of our students transfer into Lloyd to play football. So now I think it's just so popular in this area. It's awesome to see what it's done for the community.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's amazing going to games and seeing all the fans that are at those games. I mean,
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
when I played, it was never like that. Like we never had that kind of fan support. And I think it's really cool that but I think that's the winning culture that's been developed.
Yeah.
Especially with
Yeah.
Holy Rosary.
Yeah,
right?
for
Is they fans like to come out and watch because they know the team is going to win. So St. Albert coming up this weekend. They're from Grand Prairie, if I'm not mistaken. Are they Grand Prairie?
St. Albert.
No,
I thought
just
they-
north of Edmonton. Just north of Edmonton. St.
Sorry,
Albert.
it's Grand Prairie who's playing the comp. That's who's playing the comp. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. What do you know about these guys? Do you know anything about them?
No idea.
Other than you're going to beat the crap out of them.
We played them last year, I think also in semifinals, and
What was the score?
oh man, I can't remember. All I know is we had a few touchdowns up on them.
Makai scored 4 touchdowns. He showed me his highlights last night.
Yeah, I think I scored 4
It's on his
touchdowns.
huddle
Scored-
film right
yeah.
there.
Okay, so there's one last thing we need from you guys, more so from you, Makai. On our last show, we did an over-under. Was it over-under?
Oh,
Was it over-under that I said that they would not allow more than
19 points total.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
total
saw
over the
that.
2 games. So you guys cannot allow. You can allow a rouge, and
Yeah.
that's it. Like nothing else. If anything else is scored, I'm gonna be screwed again.
On these next 2 games?
No,
The next
you
game,
allowed
just the
18
next
on the
game.
last game. So I said that the Raiders would not allow more than 19 points in the last 2 games combined.
Okay.
The defense. So you 18 the first game. So far we're good.
We're good there.
And-
But you got to be really good.
Well, they only
Perfect.
St. Albert only scored like 24 points against Wapiti, right? Was it 24?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was
I
24
thought Peace
points.
Wapiti won.
Yeah, so 1 point. They can allow 1 point for me. 1 point, Makai, is all I'm looking for here. Think you can do it? For me.
I think so. We got to shut down defense. Our defense is locked down. I have no doubt that we'll come out and perform. 1
stuff.
point though, that's
Yeah, 1 point.
ooh.
You
It's a
said
lot to
under?
ask, I
Yeah,
know.
you really got to execute there.
I'll howl if they
Hey, I just want to see you guys come out with a win.
Yeah,
if you
for
give up
sure.
a few more points, I'm fine with that. A win's a
All
win,
right,
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding about
Yeah,
that 1
yeah.
point. You guys will be fine. All right, fellas, good luck this weekend. Knock 'em dead. I will be in attendance. You going to be there?
I'm coaching again.
Yeah,
You keep
that's-
asking me this. I can't see these guys because I'm coaching, so I get to hear everything.
I'll be there.
Good.
Yeah. Good luck, fellas. Enjoy
Hey,
it.
thank you.
And come out with a win so we can go to Lacombe and watch some Alberta Bowl.
Are you going to come along?
I'm going to try.
Nice.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
A couple of good young lads there, and Nash and Makai.
Yeah, they're excited. They're ready to go.
They are. They were a little subdued I thought they'd be a little more amped up than they are, but it's also nearly a week away. Well, not quite a week away.
Mackay's smile when talking about the Alberta Bowl.
Yeah, he's an interesting kid. And like I said when we were talking to him, he said something to me during the Red Dogs where he said, I get emotional about the game. And that quote has always stuck with me. It's funny how when you interview people, certain things stick with you. That's one of those things. Awesome. Let's do some What's Bugging You.
Yep.
You got something that's bugging you?
I do, but I want to hear what's bugging you.
You want to hear what's bugging me first? Okay. I'm going to go back to the Rogers Centre and the Roy Halladay thing, but more specifically, I want to go back to bronze statues. And I know this is old, and I know this has been rehearsed 1,000 times from other people. If you look at blogs, you'll find it everywhere. But the fact that there's a Ted Rogers statue sitting in front of the Rogers Centre is downright blasphemy. If you want to erect a Ted Rogers statue and you want to put it somewhere, put it in front of the Rogers building at 1 Mount Pleasant. That's the place it should go. He was a formidable businessman, and that's fine if you want to put it there. The fact that you have a Ted Rogers statue out front of the Rogers Centre when you have guys like Joe Carter, who hit a World Series winning home run and was jumping around third base. I mean, that scene alone could be used as a bronze statue. You have Tom Cheek, who called for over 20 years baseball games without missing one. I mean, think about that. That's like doing your job straight for 20 years and never taking a sick day. And in the world of regular people doing their job, it's probably more like 30 years. You have Roy Halladay, who was one of the best Blue Jays pitchers of his time, maybe one of the best Blue Jay pitchers ever, one of the best pitchers ever, and he doesn't have a statue in front of the building and probably won't. And Ted Rogers is what people who watch and love baseball are greeted to when they walk up to the Rogers Centre in Toronto. Change it. Move it and put something in there that is more deserving.
And maybe the guy that we talked about would be a good deserving guy.
There's a lot of potential guys that are deserving guys. If you're going to put statues up, there's a lot of guys.
I get putting the money into the franchise, but you can honor that in different areas.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. All right, what's bugging me, we touched on this a little bit earlier. It's bowl season for CIS football. One of the concerning things for me is the lack of post-secondary coverage, not only for CIS football, or U Sports as they're called now, but for all the sports, hockey, basketball, volleyball. This is the highest level you can play in Canada, and yet it doesn't get covered. You can catch highlights on Twitter. It used to be covered on The Score, all the national championships, and now we can only find a little clip here and there. There needs to be more coverage from the national media on all post-secondary sports. I think the local media does a good job for all the smaller areas, but on the whole, I would like to see Canada step up and support its sports and keep our athletes in Canada.
This is fascinating to me as well, because I get it from a major network's perspective, that they don't make money doing this, right? And it's really sad that this is where we're at, that it's boiled down to money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately for stations like Newcap as an example, we just don't have the resources to do live broadcasts. It would be incredible, and I would love to be able to do live broadcasts of Barons football or Raiders football or even some minor football in the area or hockey. That would be incredible. But they don't, and a lot of stations are under this similar thing. They just don't have resources. But stations like TSN, Sportsnet do. And this is where I'm really hoping we see Shaw come to the forefront with a sports network. But when we talk about sports in the city, we just want to finish this off talking about that guy sitting there with the bobblehead.
Everyone's favorite Blue Jay.
The guy was an unbelievable, and there was a lot of interesting tweets that came out, and the one in particular that came out was, he was your favorite player's favorite player.
Yeah.
The guy was a legend.
Pro's pro.